Okay. Can you see session 14 of homology modeling here?
Yep.
Okay, so we are going to discuss about homology modeling. So the background of this lecture is that previously we have discussed on how to determine protein structure. So we are using NMR, X-ray, and some of those sophisticated instruments and some software to interpret the data and so on. Can you get the structure? Bang. But the question is, what if you don't have the structure? What if you only have the sequences, but you don't have the structure? Are you going to spend billions of rupiah to run for those experiments just to get the structure? The answer is, you don't have to. The answer is, even with just, if you only got the sequences information, that will be enough for you to get the protein structure information. Now this is the learning outcomes. We're still mingling around about the sequence and structure of the biomolecules. And the important learning outcome that you can get here is to predict the structure and the function of a protein. Because basically, if you understand, if you can predict the structure, you can predict the function as well. So these are the outline. So remember, we want to have a prediction that is comparable to the experimental result. So we can do that if we use this homology modeling method. So basically, I can just sum up this explanation on how you do it. So basically, the idea is, provided that you have sequences with unknown structures, and that is the query, but in the database, you have sequences with known structures. And you compare your query with the template in the database, and when it matches, so the structure of the query will be identical or similar with the structure of the template. That is so simple. So that is so simple. That is the explanation of this whole thing. But there are some things that you have to consider. So basically, this identity versus sequence length graph plot just tell you that if the sequence length is you have more sequence if you have more sequence lengths, so the percent identity with anything in the template will be lessened until at least minimum 30%. So if your sequence length is 80 amino acid or more, sequence identity of 30% with anything in the template will be sufficient. But it doesn't mean that the function will be the same. So this is how you do it, So this is the query. The query here is your sequence, and S here will be the template, and this template is assigned to some structure. I don't know, the structure could be, I will just give you an illustration. The structure is something, I don't know, it's just randomly thought. something like this, or like, yeah, I mean, you know, the draw of the picture. So because the query is having a significant homology, the query is having a significant homology with the template. This is the structure from the template. So it means that the query is having similar structure. So that is the simple idea of homology modeling. The basic theory of homology modeling is like that. And you can read many scientific article about SARS-CoV-2 virus, for instance, but SARS-CoV-2 virus drug design, vaccine design, they are using this method. Oh, many of those articles are using this method, these homology modeling methods, because it's very simple. You don't need to do experimental validation to predict the structure, to have at least to have information about the protein structure. You don't need to spend billions of rupiah or millions of even million of US dollar to determine the structure, and yet you still can have a good publication. So there are limiting factor here, like for instance here, if you have to 75% until 100% homology, so you will have accuracy, that is accuracy of the model is similar, very similar with the one that is solved with NMR. If the homology is above 75%. But between 50 to 75%, it is kind of gray area, but we can use it. But from 25 to 50%, it's kind of concerning because you need to realign that. But anything that below 25%, don't use it. Simply don't use it. So this one, if you have homology above 75%, it means your prediction is comparable with anything that is achieved with NMR instrument. But if it's below 25%, well, don't use it. Anything between 25 to 75% will be considered gray area. You can use it, but it's better for you to repeat your alignment and homology modeling process to see whether the result is correct. Just repeat the procedure. There are some servers that you can use, and you can use it directly for your student project. Yeah, you can use anything that you want, but I'm going to give you some clue. Many of your senior, they are using TASR, for instance, or Pyre. Yeah? And me, for instance, I like to use Swiss model in here. Swiss model is the one that I use it often. But some of your seniors, they are using Pyre. Yeah? And TASR is kind of common. These two, they are not really that common, but Swiss model and TASR, it's I think the most common. So what will be the step? So here it is. So from 1 to 8 is basically the steps of homology modeling. You can see the picture. You start with the template recognition, alignment correction, and so on until you got the model validation. But when you use homology modeling software, the step from 1 until 7 here will happen behind the closed door. You will not see it. It will happen in the server. You will just, what you see is you are inputting this sequence, and then you got the model. It's very straightforward. It's very straightforward. Then you hear we will discuss about the template recognition and the initial alignment. So I think you already learned this in the homology model in the bioinformatic algorithm about the residue exchange matrix and alignment matrix. I don't want to discuss this again. You can just read your bioinformatics algorithm lecture. It's all there on. This is about dynamic programming. Just read about dynamic programming again, so you will understand what this is all about. And this is basically the same. I will just pass it out. I mean, just give you some. Oh, somebody saying something. Sir, may I leave a bit? Oh, I think it's my interview. Oh, please. I mean, if you want to have my interview, basically I'm going to share you the Excel anyway. Okay. So this is the sequence A, sequence B. But this is basically you align it. So yeah, this is dynamic programming. I will not. This is just a reminder. You can read it by yourself in bioinformatics algorithm. So this is basically just the explanation. It means that if you have more CPU power, you can do multiple templates. Yeah? But you don't have to think too much about that because you want to do homology modeling. All happens behind the closed door, and you just have to just input your sequence and fine tune some parameters, and then you got the model. It's very easy, very straightforward. And then the next thing is will be this alignment correction. So this is basically the quality control on the alignment. Yeah. For instance, if you have this sequence A and B, so you align it. But there are two possibilities of alignment. Which one is correct? So if you want to determine which one is correct, put another sequence. So you use this alignment. So you expand the pairwise alignment into a multiple sequence alignment by adding a homologous sequence in C in order to correct the alignment. So that is the idea of the alignment correction. I mean, the basis is still the dynamic programming. It's the same, but you just add some error correcting feature in here. Yeah, like some program that you can use, Muscle Coffee, and for instance, we actually use muscle program for one of our research about silencing RNA design for COVID-19 therapy. Yeah? And there are some other program as well. But I would like to say that muscle here is, I think, getting more common. People getting more and more common to use this muscle. But yeah, many people still using tea coffee as well, no problem. And then after you correct the alignment, it's time to correct the structure. So provided you have this template, yeah, in black, yeah, see, this is the things in black, it is the template. So there are two possibility of model, which is the model 1 and model 2. This is just two possibility of model. But why is it that model 1 is bad and model 2 is bad? Model 2 is good. Okay, so let's see. PCR and PA. So because the model 2 lead to the smaller gap in here. In model 1, it will lead to a very huge gap here, like VCR, MP, and then there will be a gap here, and then you got EA. The gap is too long. But in model 1, the gap is only this tiny thing. It's just this. So this is a better model. And then you got after you got the alignment, you got the alignment correction, and then you need a backbone. Because every protein will need a backbone. The backbone should comprise of carbon alpha. So the carbon that has 4 different pair. Yeah, you need a backbone. So basically, if you want to create a backbone, this is already it. This is in this part. This is already creating a backbone in this stage. Yeah. But basically, this is just in this step we just explained that the backbone generation will be elucidated in 3-dimensional. What you get here is just a 2-dimensional depiction, but in the third step you will get the 3-dimensional depiction. The next will be the loop modeling. So you have to determine where is the loop. So a loop it will be connecting one gap with the other. Yeah? If there is a gap between a different 2-dimensional structure, it will be connected by this loop. So this is loop modeling. So this is the result of the loop modeling. So how to predict the loop is a part of the homology modeling. So basically, this is just the previous explanation about backbone generation. So I will just there are some server that you can use to do loop modeling. So mainly, but it is an ab initio. It means that an energy function will be determined. So ab initio procedure it could be long, yeah, to predict loop, but this will happen behind the closed door. And then the important is side chain modeling. Yeah. So this is the explanation. In homologous modeling, at least 75% side chain rotamers occupy the same orientation. Sequence identity is this much, rotamers may be diverse. So what is rotamers actually all about? Yeah. So this is rotamer. So you see that a side chain could have a very different conformation. Which one is the correct one? So the secret is the correct conformation is the one that's having most minimal energy. That is the principle, because you are going to do molecular docking tutorial right after this. Remember, the most visible conformation in these rotamers will be the one that's having the most minimal energy, free energy, most minimal free energy, the most negative free energy. So that is the side chain modeling. Which one of these are correct? Yeah. So a thermodynamic function can tell you later on when you are doing tutorial about molecular docking. Because after you understand about molecular docking, for sure, you can finish your manuscript. You will just have spend, because the practical modules it's in structure. I already share it to you. It's very easy. I think you just have to input some password. Yeah, I will share you later the password to open your module. But yeah, this is the basic. This is I mean, if you want to do rotamer prediction accuracy, to do experiment, it's difficult. Like if you want to do crystallography, so the problem is if you do X-ray crystallography, you will just be able to, or even cryo-EM, yeah, you will just, for instance, just capture one out of many conformations. I mean, if you want to capture all of the conformation, you have to use NMR, but this instrument is just even more expensive. Yeah, I mean, experimental reasons are somehow overlapping with biological reasons. But theoretical function reasons actually it's easier to cater. I mean, you just use exact formula, exact calculation. It's already there. You just use it, and then you got your prediction. Basically, you have to count mainly this hydrogen bond and electrostatic interaction. So all of this interaction will give you some certain energy function. But yeah, you can just use it. And then optimize the model. Yeah. So we call this optimize model energy minimization step. So I will give you just sum up of everything in here. What is model optimization? So a raw structure will have what we call steric effect. So steric effect happens when all of the side chains, all of the subchains overlap with each other. They overlap with each other, so it makes the structure unstable. Yeah. So model optimization step is necessary to stabilize the structure so the side chain won't overlap. So the one that is overlap right here, by using model optimization, it won't overlap again. It's free now. So you release the side chain from the bond of the steric effect like this. So it's inorganic chemistry, but the principle is simple. This is a steric effect when two side chains collapse and overlap like this. You do model optimization, you release them from that condition, so the side chains will free and can move whatever it takes. So that is model optimization steps. The details you can read it by yourself, but that is basically a simple explanation. There are two ways that you can achieve it by using quantum force field, but for quantum force field, we are not going to use it. Mainly, we still cling to this self-parametric force field because we are still want to cling to the conventional physics, classical physics. Yeah. We are not going to discuss about the paradigm of modern physics yet in this point. Yeah. So we are still limit ourselves in the boundary of thermodynamics and kinetics theory. So how to optimize it? So just imagine the protein is inside this cube and run the dynamic simulation. So the dynamic simulation, so all the atoms in this vacuum cube will move and it will see what will be the best conformation with the most minimum energy that makes all the amino acids residue in the protein will be free from the steric effect. We already explained about the steric effect when we discussed about the Ramachandran plot before. Like. So model optimization is just to make the protein fit into the definition of the stable structure in Ramachandran plot. So basically that's it. You relate that with the Ramachandran plot because the structure should be stable. Then you validate the model, but usually to do this, we check whether the model is correct. So automatically they are going to submit this to this database to see whether there are problems. Yeah, but no errors. Okay, we have the model. So there are rule of thumbs here. I've told you if the sequence identity is more than 90%, so from 70 to 100%, is comparable not only the model comparable with NMR, but also with X-ray. But in here, it's always gray area, but don't take anything below 25% sequence identity. means that your model will be prone to error. So I remind you again, this is identity between your query and your template, yeah. So if your query giving information that the template aligned to the template that is providing, I don't know, the protease of SARS-CoV-2 protein, so it's highly probable that your query will be a protease of SARS-CoV-2 protein. Very simple. You don't need those fancy instruments to obtain information about the sequence structure. Very simple. Very cheap. You just need your own laptop. Simple and cheap. Yeah, I mean, this is just some. So iteration is, for instance, if this whole process that I have mentioned you before, they found error. Iteration means it will repeat the process until they found no errors. Iterate it again until the repetition will occur until they found no error. So that is homology modeling. What? Prediction of an unknown structure based upon an homologous and known structure. I mean, you can see that. I repeat it again. On people that is working with SARS-CoV-2 drug, SARS-CoV-2 vaccine, they are using this method to determine the protein structure. And why? Why should you do that? To answer biological medical question when the real structure is unknown. Like many articles that you can read about SARS-CoV-2 virus, they're trying to answer a question like, how can I design a good drug? How can I design a good vaccine? You need a protein structure of your target. Without the protein structure of your target, you will be lost in translation. So a template with enough identity must be available, so you need 8 steps. That is the reference. So yeah. So now what you have to do is, you have 2 things to do. So I want to show you what you are going to do for the current for the current computational report, yeah. But there is a password that you have to enter to open the PDF for accessing the PDF, the computational tool. Use this password. So that is your password. This for reminder to open this module. So can you see, guys, can see the molecular docking module?
Yep.
Okay, so here it is. So basically, it's very easy. The modules that I gave to you, actually, our library purchased this module from some random vendor in East Java, I would like to say. How to do molecular docking with easy? Basically, what you can do is just do anything step by step, but there are some theory that you have to read, yeah, in the beginning, so you can understand what is molecular docking is all about. It's in bahasa Indonesia, you can read it. What is this all about? Just read and read. And there are some classification of molecular dockings and types of docking. And I've mentioned you before about drug development, so this is the crucial methods for drug design. Yeah? So there are some information, please read this. And this is the analysis process of docking. And then there's some formula, but you don't need to provide the formula, this formula in your deport. Yeah, no need. Then there are some steps that you need to do. Just follow the step from ligand preparation, search the ligand and download the ligand and prepare the receptor. Then you have to download this PyMol software. Yeah. Then you download this Pyrex software. Last time I use it, I can still use Pyrex in my Mac for Mac OS version 10.4, 10.14. Yeah. But anything that is newer than 10.14 Mac OS, I think Pyrex, you cannot use Pyrex. But in Windows, there is no problem. In Windows, you can just use Pyrex. It's very straightforward. You can install the Pyrex, and yeah, there is even in Pyrex you have a wizard. Yeah, in wizard here, you can just use the wizard to do the docking. Then you start. Then you got the visualization in here. Open the file. Yeah. And here, this is how to determine the docking site. Yeah, this is the dock grid box. Yeah, it will determine automatically, but you have to fine tune some of the parameters. And this is basically the docking is iterating. Yeah, you can just but if the ligand is new, you have to do ligand optimization in here. Yeah. You need to click use all of these options to do ligand minimization. Okay, and then there is another tutorial that you have to do is the reverse docking, which is you have one ligand, but you have many proteins. So you want to dock this one ligand to this many protein. Which one is the most fit? So you have to follow some of this structure. Yeah. So it's just so I think what is the protein? It's already explained above here. It's quercetin, for instance. Yeah, this is the protein. Yeah, the protein is TIRT. You can check it out in here 3ART, the protein. That is the PDB ID. You download it and you do this docking. And then please then try the reverse docking. Yeah, but if you please try this reverse docking. So, but the protein target that you have, you can add more than one protein target. Just add any protein that you want to add here, because this is just a tutorial. Yeah. Then yeah, just follow all of this instruction. And then after that, you have to analyze the result. Yeah. You can use PyMol here. There are some tools that you can use to analyze the two-dimensional interaction of the hydrogen bond and hydrophobic interaction and so on. It's very easy. You can just download the program in here. It is the link plot. If this link is not working, you can just Google it. The name of the program is LinkPlot. And then you upload the PDB file as the result, the docking result file. Yeah. And then you got the interaction data. This is the hydrophobic interaction in here. There are hydrogen bonding in here. This is the hydrogen bonding. And yeah. Then later on you can use this Discovery Studio. to analyze the ligand interaction as well. Yeah, it's the same, but you can choose you want to use Ligplot Plus or Discovery Studio to analyze this ligand, the two-dimensional diagram. And yeah, basically this part is just a tutorial to use PyMol. You can see the three-dimensional depiction of the chemical interaction by checking this the PyMol, using this PyMol. And yeah, that's all. Maybe you think this is kind of long, but actually this is very interactive. Yeah, you have all the theory here. You can read the theory about molecular docking. Actually, I have explained you before, but in here is, I think is the literature is more concise. You can just follow it. And please, what you have to do is just repeat the tutorial in this module and report it. Make a screenshot and then report it with our conventional reporting style. Yeah. So that is basically it. So what I want you to do is, we have time until so we will reconvene at 11:55 a.m. for checkout. Yeah. So what you have to do now is please discuss discuss with your team or among your team about the completion of the manuscript and try to work on the computational module. Okay, so I will stop the video recording now. I will stop the video recording now.